My newsletter thing looks like this. It's called Juche Gang News. It's a thing that I do. Maybe the comrades like it, and I will keep doing it as long as people seem like they're getting something out of this. We're on volume 17, Wednesday, June 17th, 2026. So first, obviously, we have Iran warning of a harsh response. As you know, yesterday we talked about how Israel is still violating the ceasefire, of course, in Lebanon. And so everybody's wondering, will Iran respond to this, right? So Iran's Qatem and Anbia central headquarters on Monday warned that Israeli regime to halt repeated ceasefire violations in southern Lebanon or face a quote-unquote harsh response from Iran's armed forces. In a statement on Tuesday, the headquarters said that the terrorist army of the Zionist regime had violated the ceasefire 84 times over the past 2 days, despite the U.S. president's announcement declaring an end to the war. Quote, if the child-killing army of the Zionist regime does not end its evil acts in southern Lebanon, it must await a harsh response from the powerful armed forces of the Islamic Republic of Iran, it said. Damn. On Tuesday alone, multiple Israeli strikes killed at least 4 people in southern Lebanon's Nebtia governorate, according to Lebanon's national news agency, Press TV, reports. So, what do you think, chat? Personally, I do think Iran... I think there is a high likelihood that Iran responds. Given that we saw them essentially announce that they are ready to respond before. Sounds like the ceasefire is holding. Big Trump win, right? Oh, I mean, the Trump can't lose, right? I think. Only win. He only knows winning. Only knows winning, no losing, no surprises.
Who knows better about surprise than Japan? Okay, why didn't you tell me about Pearl Harbor?
Yeah, I saved that soundbite. I had to save that soundbite. That's your president.
What if anything? What if a bomb drops on your head right now?
Yeah, that's your president. All right. Also from Press TV, reporting that Yemeni political council chief, Iranian armed forces inspiring model for the Muslim world. This is one that I'm going to say I recommend you go and read the whole article for this one. This was great. But part of the article that I wanted to highlight for you all, it says the head of Yemen's Supreme Political Council, Mehdi al-Mashad, has hailed Iran's armed forces, especially the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, saying their performance during the U.S.-Israeli aggression evinced resilience, determination, and military strength. Al-Mashad on Tuesday congratulated Iran's leadership and people on the country's victory over U.S. and Israeli aggression. And don't let these violations of the ceasefire or the fact that talks won't hold as diminishing the fact that this is a victory for Iran, right? Quote, the Iranian armed forces and the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps presented an inspiring model of resilience, steadfastness, and strength for the Muslim world, al-Mashad said. The Yemeni official further said that Iran's insistence on the principle of unity of resistance fronts contributed to forcing a halt to Israeli attacks on Lebanon. He said, the enemy only understands the language of power, adding that policies of compromise and surrender only lead to greater pressure and demands. Al-Mashad further called for increased vigilance, preservation of achievements, and continued adherence to the principle of unity of resistance fronts, as opposed to what the West calls Iranian backed proxies. He also called on regional governments to use current opportunity to strengthen mutual trust, expand cooperation, and build relations based on mutual respect. Let's go. Yemen W. Oh, and I got one more for Press TV today. I loaded up on the news today. Iran's space program moving ahead. Let's go. I love space. Iran's space industry is pressing forward with renewed momentum, especially when it's not Whitey on the moon. As the Minister of Information and Communications Technology announces the underway plans for the imminent launch of the Pars 2 satellite and deployment of the Shahid Soleimani constellation by the end of the year. Speaking on Wednesday at the meeting with experts and managers of the Iranian Space Research Institute, including Hassan Salareh, head of the Iranian Space Agency, Sattar Hashemi praised the achievements of the space sector under the current administration, attributing progress to the efforts of specialists and experts in the field. The approach of the Ministry of Communications and the 14th administration towards the space industry is a strategic one, and this field has extensive capacities for the development of smart agriculture, water resource management, land management, and improving the quality of data-driven governance in the country, Hashemi stressed. The continuation of the country's space activities under difficult conditions is the result of the commitment, expertise, and round-the-clock efforts of colleagues in this field, Hashemi added. Referring to ongoing projects, he added that the necessary planning is underway to place the Pars 2 satellite in orbit. Pars 2 is an advanced, domestically developed, highly accurate, and imaging satellite manufactured by ISA, with the primary mission of Earth observation, remote sensing, and environmental monitoring. Hell yeah. Persia being Persia, again on the global stage is a sight to behold. I love it. It's multipolarity in the way that China talks about, right? Not multipolarity in the way the West talks about, but multipolarity, multilateralism. And we're seeing that even the small countries are beginning to be able to find means to develop in ways that was not possible before because of sanctions regimes, etc., right? And we love it. Fuck yeah. It's one thing that, like, at least I gotta clap Trump for accelerating that process, in a sense. The administration this time. It is going to be so funny if Trump finds out about this months after, thinks, wait, space is ours, right? And flies off the handle and orders Space Force to go to war for the first time. I mean, the funny thing, it's funny to think about that, but what I will say is Space Force is a joke, right? We know this. Like, everything that Space Force you would imagine does is done by other divisions. And Space Force is just like it's like a money pit for them to just like dump money into and pretend like there's something actually there, and there's not. Isn't that the low tier sitcom with Steve Carell? Yes. Yes, it is. Trump put a face on on end stage capitalism. Yeah, essentially. All 10 guys in the Space Force look at each other and are like, I guess we'll hold a meeting about it. Yeah, exactly. That's essentially all they do is hold meetings and talk about whatever. Who knows? Probably fucking talk about nothing to do with space. All right, I report this the way Amy reports the way Russia attacks Ukraine. So I'm, if you know my position on this war, which is that I fucking hate war. War should not exist. I want to see war end. I want a diplomatic end to the war. However, I understand that the reason for this war is due to Nazi elements in the Ukraine that are backed and supported by the US since 2014 that has engaged in an ethnic cleansing campaign against Russians in Ukraine. And therefore, as a result, this military operation does have an element of anti fascism to it. Now, with that being said, we have a Ukrainian drone attack killing 4 civilians. Because all Ukraine is doing now, they can't actually fight any kind of military battle. They just want to keep this war going. So all they're doing at this point is just speaking military wise, they're unproductively just launching drones into Russia long range and killing civilians. That's all they're doing. Which, what do you like? The only thing that's doing as a result is making people more supportive of Russia just ending this, right? So, the report from TASS here. But welcome in. Ukrainian drones attack kill 4 civilians. In the past week, Ukraine's armed forces attacked Russia's Belgorod region roughly 230 times using drones, killing 4 civilians and injuring almost 60 others. The Russian Foreign Ministry's ambassador at large, Rodon Murashnik, told TASS. Quote, over the past week, the Belgorod region remained one of the most affected by attacks from Ukrainian formations, mostly using drones. Roughly 230 drones were launched on the region in daily attacks. Overall, 4 civilians fell victim to attacks by Ukrainian death squads, with 58 others, including 5 children, sustaining injuries. A 9-month baby was the youngest among the injured children, he said. Also, Ukrainian troops intensified attacks on civilian facilities in another bordering Russian region, Bryansk, over the past week. On June 11th alone, 4 civilians were killed in such attacks and 14 others were injured. The Russian diplomat added, saying that Sushma and Trubetskoy were districts were hit hardest. The previous week's Ukrainian attacks left almost 30 civilians, including a child, killed and more than 220 others injured across the country, Murashnik told TASS earlier. And then continuing on with her Russia news, here's one that Dave covered extensively. If you're not following our comrade Dave Legend, make sure you follow Dave. Dave is our resident tank tube naval expert. And he did go over this quite extensively, explained how the yacht owners who went on British TV and said that Russia didn't properly hail them and stuff like this. He explains why all of that is bullshit. So make sure you follow Dave. Check the VOD from today. What Dave should do is cut out the talk from this morning and he should put that on YouTube. So anyway, this report here, which is a bit misleading, it's from Anti-War. But look, there's already a mistake here, I just noticed. Russian warship fires warning shots in the English Channel. Wait, isn't it actually called the Dover Strait or something? I can understand even why this stuff happens and is motivated by revenge. It's not like Russia hasn't hit civilian sectors either, but Ukraine are supposed to be the good guys. Every YouTube recommended channel and Alphabet Network on TV says so. So what the hell am I supposed to think? Yeah, and trucks, that's exactly why I point that out, right? And it's not to say that I support, and me pointing out that there's an anti-fascist character to the Russian military operation is not to say that I support everything that has happened there, right? But it's to point out that the true prolonger of the war and the true instigator of the war is absolutely the United States and NATO. See, I thought the English Channel is not a name that actually exists. I thought that it's actually, and even England agrees that it's international waters. So therefore, the English Channel is not actually a thing. It's it's a name that's used to say this ship sailed through our waters, when they even signed on to the international navigation agreements or whatever it is. That's why there's like that shipping lane that goes through there. So it is called the English Channel, like by majority bourgeois understanding, but I'm pretty sure it's the Strait of Dover technically. It's not the name. I reject the name. Yeah, widely accepted nickname. Russian warship fires warning shots in the English Channel. First thing we'll do under socialism is abolish the name English Channel. El Samuel, welcome in. El Samuel will support my referendum. Samuel, motion to change the English Channel. Abolish the name in English Channel. Oh my god. Anti-biography. Jesus Christ. No. Oh my god. Okay. This is the first time in 42 years I have heard of the Strait of Dover. Really? Donatella. Interesting. Look into it. All right, Russian warship. It fires a warning shot in the Strait of Dover. It's called the channel for diplomatic reasons. Yes, yes, exactly. See, that I knew there's like navigation things that's like they don't actually call it the English Channel in navigation or like in naval navigation, and that's and again that's why there is the thing. That's why there is like the international waterway through there. I'd have to read more into it, but I briefly remember looking at that before. That is like, it's an actual, like, contentious thing that it's called the English Channel. Okay, the Russian military, because I think the reason why France kind of goes along with it, Triox, is because there it's like a way it's kind of like aimed at like Russia and other countries like that. It's like kind of a pro NATO fucking name essentially, you know? Which is why it's like a contentious name for countries that are like Russia or align with that with Russia. So this was an interesting event. I don't know if you saw yesterday when we did the news, but Russia had a tank. It wasn't even a Russian tanker. They say they say they say whatever it is, it was Russian link tanker or something like that, they said, but it was actually just I forget where it was, but it was another country's ship, and they bought Russian oil. And then as they were sailing through the strait, the English Navy, the Royal Navy, stops them, boards them with these I'll show you. Wait, I'll show you, Ninja. I'll go. Let me bring up my news from yesterday, right quick. I'm pretty sure I covered it here yesterday. No, day before. Oh, wait. It must be the day before that. Hold on. How do I go back to my things? Yeah. No. Look, I don't know how to use the fucking internet. What am I doing? Take me to my things. My projects. There we go. Maybe it was 15, was it? Yeah, here it is right here. This was it right here. I wonder if they show where was that footage at. This is the footage of it. And Starmer, of course, post this footage of it on on X like he's proud of it, right? This is like an act of piracy. Despite Putin's best efforts to evade sanctions, we will not let him get away with it. That's what he posts and says. I want to know, do they mention... Yeah, Gambian flagged vessel. So it's a Gambian vessel that bought oil from Russia, which is not against the law, right? It's not against any laws. But look, the way, even Al Jazeera, the way they report it, Gambian flagged vessel believed to be part of Russia's Shadow Fleet. The Shadow Fleet. The secret Shadow Fleet. And so and then Keir Starmer posted the video of it here. Look, here they go. These guys on your fucking ship, guns drawn. You're just Gambians trying to fucking doing your job, delivering oil, not breaking any Navy laws. Like, what the fuck? Literal piracy, like I was saying. Yeah, posing for the camera. So then just today or yesterday, on Tuesday it was, yesterday, the Russian military said that a Russian warship fired a warning shot towards a British yacht in the English Channel. An incident that occurred 2 days after the British Royal Marines boarded and seized an oil tanker that had departed Russia. According to Newsweek, the incident on Tuesday occurred about 20 miles south of the Isle of Wight. Dave, can you please link me to this person's website for this yacht or whatever you showed on your stream? If you got that handy, that'd be very much appreciated. According to Newsweek, the incident on Tuesday occurred 20 miles south of the Isle of Wight, with the two vessels about 500 yards apart. The Russian Defense Ministry said the yacht was on a course that would bring it dangerously close to the Russian frigate Admiral Grikovich. 500 yards, chat. Note that distance, right? 500 yards from the naval vessel. The ministry said that the yacht ignored warnings, signal flares, and a siren before the Russian warship fired warning shots with small arms across the bow, prompting the yacht to alter course. According to British officials, a couple in their 60s was aboard the private vessel at the time. British warships typically shadow Russian naval vessels as they transit the English Channel, and according to British media, the Admiral Grikovich was being shadowed by the Royal Navy patrol ship HMS Mersey at the time. Mersey. While the shooting appears to be a minor incident, it highlights the tensions in the region following the British seizure of the tanker Simiritros, which had departed Russian Baltic Sea port of Ust-Luga and was bound for the Port Said, Egypt, before being intercepted by British forces. Isle of Wight, completely on the nose. Okay, so this here is the yacht company Dave shared. It's called Bright Future. This is their yacht here. This is the yacht that came within 500 meters of the thing. Retired and ready to go. Like, it seems fishy as shit, doesn't it? Beyond the Medway. Oh god. Yeah, this is the one I'm looking for. Look at the fucking sail, chat. Do you have Dave, I hate to bug you again, but do you have the video that you watched of this couple explaining their side of it? So I found that was endlessly fascinating as well. Look at this flag. Like, what the fuck? You have to input a secret set of key inputs to access
from Quelbs. Quelbs supported with 15.
Yo, see Welbs.
News.
Thank you so much for the 15, comrade. Mumi says, meow. Somebody spladled this flag immediately. Okay, listen to these. This is the couple here. They're going to explain it.
Who were caught up in that international incident with a Russian frigate in the Channel today have told Newsnight in an exclusive interview that the Russians have told lies about what actually happened.
The Russians have told lies, chat.
Admiral Grigorovich fired warning shots near the UK-registered yacht called Bright Future this morning. The Russian Ministry of Defence
look at the size of it
on a dangerous approach towards the frigate. And
how are you, like, okay, I just gotta ask something to y'all, chat. Like, how are you sailing in your little yacht within 500 yards of that thing?
its crew fired rifle shots into its path after making several attempts, they said, to contact it over the radio and after launching warning flares. But Jane...
I don't know the exact distance. It was within 500 yards. That is what Russia's media said.
They're now in Cherbourg, just before we came on air.
We were sailing from Lymington to Cherbourg. Left at 4 a.m. this morning, and as we were coming about halfway across the channel, we saw in the distance a vessel. It wasn't showing on our AIS, so we couldn't identify it. And as we got closer, we saw that it was a warship. And as we got closer still, we saw it had Cyrillic lettering along the side. We were about 4 or 5.
How? I'm sorry, how close did they get to the vessel that they could see the lettering on it like that? Exactly. Sounds like they were really fucking close to it to me.
100 meters off. It was on our starboard side. It was motionless. It was not adrift, and it was holding station. We were sailing. It was 11 o'clock this morning, British time.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it was adrift or if it was whatever it was doing. It's a warship, which you're supposed to stay like at least a mile away from.
And as we approached, they gave out 5 blasts on their horn, which means, have you seen us? Mm-hmm. We immediately turned 2 degrees to port so that they could.
So they heard the sounds of warnings, right? They heard the sounds of warnings, clear warnings, they just said, and they turned 2 degrees. Like, what?
See, we'd made a deliberate change of course, which meant we had seen them. And then a minute or so later, they gave another 5 blasts on their horn, immediately followed by 4 to 5 small arms fire that wasn't aimed at us. It was a warning fire that went up in the air, we believe.
Were you afraid? What did you do?
Alan had to stay on the helm because he was steering. Yeah. I crouched down on the floor and tried to get my lovely canvas hood to protect me. We didn't really do a lot. We didn't figure that we were likely to actually get shot at, but we did. As soon as the warning shots came on, we put the engine on and went 90 degrees to port and got.
So then actually turned. Waited till they heard warning shots and then actually turned their boat. Like, what the fuck?
Way out the way.
Way out of it, yeah.
Right. But so how close were you to this warship? And you could see it was a warship, yes?
We could see it was a warship. We could see the credit letters. It had.
So they could see it was a warship. They could see acrylic letters on it. Why did they still get closer to it? You don't need to hear on your transponder. You don't need to hear through your radio or anything else that you're not supposed to get within so many miles of it. You do not get within, you stay at least a mile away from all fucking warships. That's just like, that's a given if you're sailing anywhere. You don't need to be warned of that. That's why you are supposed to like take lessons and like learn before you actually go sailing, you know?
It wasn't showing on AIS.
Which is the automatic ID system.
Yes, but normally when you're sailing across a
Not just in a warship, if you're in a small boat, you don't go near the big ones. Yeah, Dave, exactly. I mean, that's good point. Like, if it was a big container ship as well, commercial vessel, same rules would apply. Because if you got too close and something happened to you, you would be at fault for that.
Warships goes past, you get a message on VHF saying, give a 1 nautical mile exclusion zone or
something like that. Here, what she's saying, this is bullshit. She's saying, oh, we never got a message on the VHF saying to stay a mile away. So? Are you a fucking robot? Are you an AI? Like, you only do the things that you're supposed to do when you get a message on VHF saying to do that thing. Like, why don't you follow fucking naval navigation rules, actually? Right?
A 1 nautical mile exclusion zone or something like that. But there was nothing. They didn't radio us. They could have seen us coming from. I mean,
I find that, I don't believe that for a second.
AIS.
I don't believe that part. I don't believe that they didn't radio them. The fact that they already have admitted that there was a warning horn. Twice there was a warning horn. They said they saw a flare go up into the sky, and then another warning horn, and then they heard the shots that made them finally turn away. So I do not believe for a second that they didn't try to radio them. Either their radio was not working, or for whatever reason they didn't answer the radio. Is like the one of two things I can fucking conclude.
First thing we knew was the 5 blasts, we turned to port, followed by the next 5 blasts, and then the gunfire. And so we just...
5 blasts, and then we turned to port. No, you didn't. 2 degrees is not a turn. We turned to port. 2 degrees, they said. 2 degrees.
Turned.
Yeah, there were none of these flares and things that they said in their statement.
They didn't send up any flares. They didn't try to radio us.
She already said they sent up flares, and now she's saying they didn't send up flares.
They didn't look to us like they were adrift, and we were definitely not on a collision course. We were going
to miss them.
We were going to miss them.
And we were the stand-on vessel.
Now listen to the way that's worded right there, right? Do you hear the way that's worded? Who talks like that when they're not going towards somebody? When you're not dangerously close to colliding with somebody, who says we were gonna miss them? I was gonna miss them. Who would word it like that? Right? Like maybe I'm reading too much into it, but even the way they are wording that makes them sound guilty as fuck. We were gonna miss them. Why were you headed in that why didn't you turn, you know what I mean? Like, I don't understand why that like, we weren't even close to them. Would it be the appropriate response? We were a mile away, like we should be, from any large vessels, right? Not that we were going to miss them, which indicates to me that they don't want to admit that they were breaking the fucking law. That they violated the law in this incident. So instead of admitting that they're violating the law, they just say, oh, we were gonna miss them. Because they've already admitted they were within that 1 mile radius. And their excuse is that they didn't get radioed on VHF. Right? which all of that is bullshit. None of that matters. If your radio equipment doesn't work on your fucking boat and none of your detection equipment is working, you're still responsible to follow the rules of naval navigation. It don't matter if your shit's working or not, right? That's why you're supposed to know like flag signals and shit like that as well.
We were booked to us.
Like,
they didn't send up any.
They were gonna do the Mad Max Fury Road kamikaze witness me move, but I got scared at the last minute.
There were none of these flares and things that they said in their statement.
They didn't send.
He tried to be comedy, but he didn't have the fucking guts.
Followed by the next 5 blasts and then the gunfire.
Man was trying to single-handedly start war between fucking Britain and Russia.
Turned.
Yeah, there were none of these flares and things that they said in their statement.
They didn't send up any flares. They didn't try to radio us. They didn't look to us like they were adrift, and we were definitely not on a collision course. We were
going to miss them.
We were going to miss them.
And we were the stand-on vessel.
It just wasn't, as far as we were concerned, it wasn't an incident until the gunfire started.
I mean, you say it so calmly, Jane, I have to say. Can I just
so
read
calmly.
You some of
brave,
their statement?
brave.
This is from the Russian Ministry of Defence. The crew of the frigate Admiral Grigorovich in the English Channel detected the civilian sailing yacht Bright Future under the flag of Great Britain proceeding under engine power on a dangerous course close to the ship. I can see you nodding.
Absolutely not.
So you say absolutely not. That you were on a dangerous course.
Yeah, they likely didn't see shit because they were both fucking asleep and adrift in the sea lane.
They did not.
Yeah, Dave, I think that assessment was probably likely.
They did not radio us.
They did not radio us. There was absolutely no problem as far as we were concerned. We were just going to go sailing straight past them until they, and as soon as they sent the 5 blasts on the horn, we took evacuation, not that any was necessary. But then they did the following 5.
They took evasion, 2 degrees again.
Yeah, gunfire.
Which really, it was totally unnecessary.
Imperceptible. Imperceptible
So
switching, of course.
Said about what happened.
Which is normal lies.
It's just not true.
See, normal lies. It just normal lies. Explain then. Oh, well, Russia just always lies. Not from what I've seen, but go off, Grandpa.
You are talking about this in a really calm way.
I've been looking at Russia for quite a while, and I don't see them do a whole lot of lying. I'm going to be real.
It's another day.
It was just.
I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I'm just saying. In this scenario, I'm tending to lean towards Russia.
I need to get on the VHF and call Silent Coast Guard and tell them what this Russian warship's doing. But I didn't want to use the VHF because they would have been able to hear us. So I had to wait a while to get a signal. Then I just dialed 999 for the Coast Guard.
So they didn't contact anybody either.
Oh, they took a great big statement off. As everything, they were very, are we safe? Which we were, because the bullets weren't aimed at us at all. And then we had a lot of back and forth, and then Joburg, which is the French Coast Guard, they got in touch with us. And then later on in the afternoon, about 2:00, Silent Coast Guard wanted to know our position, and within about half an hour, HMS Tyne, Royal Navy ship, came by to make sure that we were okay. I only reported it because that's what you're supposed to do. Anything that causes a
hazard to navigation.
You're supposed to report. So I reported it.
But how do you feel about that, Jane?
Not for us, because we were safe. Well, I think it was the right thing to do. I just am surprised at how it's blown up, and I'm a bit disappointed with the accusations made against us because they're simply not true.
Awesome.
Or firing when people are around.
Yeah.
It was unnecessary, completely unnecessary.
See if it'll load for me.
So the plan now
My
is
browser is terrible.
You're on the yacht now, it looks like. You to carry on with your holiday?
Oh, yes. We'll carry on.
Right.
You intend to be sailing for the next 2 months.
Are you going to have a glass of something tonight?
And then...
We've
already had.
We needed something when we got in, yeah.
Go on, what was your tipple?
Oh,
Jane's on the
rosé wine. Alan had a beer.
I'm on beer.
Yeah.
But because we've been sailing for over 12 hours, and then we spent about an hour and a half.
They were sailing for over 12 hours.
It's almost time for dinner.
Okay.
Chat.
Well, listen, thank you so much.
They were sailing for over 12 hours.
And thank you for sharing it with everybody. And we really appreciate it.
They were
I'm so glad
asleep.
that you're safe. And yeah, crack open that rosé.
They were asleep.
Thank you very much,
Thank
Victoria.
100% asleep.
Thanks, Jane. Well
Yes.
done. Take care.
So look, here's a little map that Dave made for
democracynow.org.
No. Here's a little map that Dave made, just to show you. See, this is the Strait of Dover. This is the Dover Strait, the one, but the whole thing is the Straits of Dover, aka the English Channel. Apparently, this is the traffic here. These are the like big naval traffic routes, the sea traffic lanes, you know, where like big shipping lanes where fucking giant ships travel through, right? And you can see like this is the sea lane, and that's where the incident happened, right here. So they were like asleep, drifting through the fucking sea lane. Essentially asleep, drifting like adrift without actually looking where they're going across this giant sea lane. Which is why I say they were probably like breaking maritime law, which is why they didn't want to fucking report their incident, right? But so brave, those English people breaking the law. And it's also a ferry crossing lane. Amazing. They should sail to Strait of Hormuz. I've got another Russia news one for you here. This is from AA News. Russia bans entry of 103 Canadians. They could have seen that motherfucker for an hour before. Yeah, which is what either they were asleep or purposefully doing it. I definitely agree with you, Dave, on your assessment. So here we go. Russia authoritarianly banning some Canadians. Russia on Tuesday imposed entry bans on 103 Canadian citizens, including senators, members of parliament, and government officials, in response to what Moscow described as an anti-Russian sanctions imposed by Ottawa. In a statement, the Russian Foreign Ministry accused members of Canadian Parliament of supporting policies aimed at undermining Russia's constitutional order and foreign policy, as well as backing efforts to confiscate Russian state assets. Russia traditionally respects the Canadian people, but rejects the hostile approach of the current political elite, which has embarked on a path of denying Russia's rights and interests, and as a result has wantonly, methodically, and utterly destroyed bilateral relations with our country, the ministry said. Moscow said it would continue to respond to what it called Ottawa's provocative actions, including support for Ukraine and alleged interference in Russia's internal affairs. The sanctions list includes members of the Senate, members of the House of Commons, secretaries of state, parliamentary secretaries, and other Canadian officials. There you go, Canadians, added to the list of most oppressed peoples. Alright, it's now your favorite part of my news, the headlines for socialist countries. First up, we got Cuba, Grenma News, reporting that the Political Bureau of the Communist Party of Cuba agreed to convene an extraordinary plenum of the Central Committee on Wednesday, June 17th, 2026, to evaluate proposals for economic and social transformations, announced by first Secretary of the Central Committee of the first Secretary of the Central Committee of the Party and President of the Republic, Miguel Diaz-Canel Bermudez, in a recent statement to the press. Just got haircut and beard trim for all the lumberjacks I'm expecting to seduce. Let's go. You're going to Banff. Well, there you go. I've never been to Banff, but I hear it's lovely. Although, be careful interacting with Canadians. You thought spitting at your feet was bad, Canadians will spit in your face. Anyway, to continue. Canadians will just spit right in your face. Especially if you are in my daily troll. I was starting to wonder if you'd be by today. Jesus Christ. I was starting to wonder if that troll would be by today.
See ya.
Man, my sounds are just fucking out of control. I have to know what that's from. Why does it sound like that? Sound alerts? What other sound alerts source do I have? I don't get it. Oh, is it this? No, that says redeems. It makes no sense. There's nothing there. Oh wait, what's this? Oh my god, I found it. I think this is it. This is the problem. Okay, there. Fuck me. Now let me try this.
Juche is what's happening on this planet, y'all.
That was better. That was better. There's still like more. But that was definitely better than it was. The stream's acting up. It is playing 2 at once. It was playing 3 a minute ago. I got rid of one of them. How the fuck is there 3 of them all of a sudden? That's what I'd like to know. Kick alerts. This is Botrix. I can't find a third one. It makes no sense. There is no third. Yeah, I don't know. There's no third. Yeah, I'll be a third. Well, thanks, Mana. All right. Next on our socialist, sorry for that distraction with the troll and all. Next on our list for socialist headlines, we got Lao. I love this for Lao. Disability Inclusion Fun Day. And I wasn't invited? The event provided a welcoming space for interaction and exchange among participants from diverse backgrounds, encouraging greater understanding of disability rights and the importance of creating accessible and inclusive communities. Through a variety of activities, attendees had opportunities to learn, share experiences, and showcase their talents. The program featured inclusive games, creative workshops, awareness booths, an introduction to sign language, artistic performances, and discussions on disability inclusion. Participants also explore topics related to access to sexual and reproductive health, information, protection from gender-based violence, skills development, and meaningful participation in social and economic life. A major highlight of the day was the signing of the Memorandum Understanding aimed at strengthening collaboration and disability inclusion in social work. The agreement seeks to promote knowledge, exchange, student engagement. No, that can't be it. I thought you were right for a second, but no. I just looked. I got something fucking going on. We'll figure it out eventually. One day it'll just It'll just take care of itself, okay? A major highlight of the day was signing the Memorandum of Understanding, aimed at strengthening collaboration in disability inclusion and social work. The agreement seeks to promote knowledge exchange, student engagement, volunteering, research, awareness raising initiatives, and support for community based programs benefiting persons with disabilities. Organizers emphasize that effective inclusion requires cooperation among communities, educational institutions, civil society organizations, the private sector, and young people. They noted that every individual should have equal opportunities to access information, make decisions, pursue education, gain employment, and live with dignity and safety. KPL. Hell yeah. Disability Inclusion Fun Day. Yeah, but like March says, don't go telling reactionaries, Chad, okay? Lao is our secret. I got news from Vietnam next. VNA. Party state leader calls for modernizing. The party general secretary and state president Tao Lam on June 15th chaired a working session with the Party Central Committee's Commission for Information and Education and Mass Mobilization to provide comments on the draft strategy for the party's ideological work in the context of digital information. Concluding the session, General Secretary President Lam affirmed that formulating the strategy is an objective and current urgent requirement with long-term significance. Ideological struggle. I love when it's a state policy. Ah, yes. I included a very short one for you from China here, but I invite you to go and read this. This is China's State Council Information Office on Wednesday released a white paper titled More Just and Equitable Global Governance: China's Principles, Proposals, and Actions. And here you can read the whole white paper that was just released. I recommend reading it. We'll probably do this on stream in the near future. If I'm able to get enough donos to go camping, we'll read it when I get back from camping. And if you want to support our old kitty getting veterinary arthritis shots and antibiotics, please think about seeing my Ko-Fi and my PayPal there. Any small amount, $5, $10, all of it goes a long way to helping us pay for her medication and potentially allowing my wife and I to go camping still this week. And we planned it long in advance, but this kind of came up. So if you can support me, think about it. Drugs!
I choose drugs! Drugs!
If you can think about supporting me, supporting the kiddies, please consider it. It would mean a ton. Maybe even allow my wife and I to go camping. And my wife deserves a vacation away. You know? But we're poor. Poor as fuck. So please think about throwing us a couple dollars. $5, $10, like I say, any amount helps. Check the Ko-Fi. Check the fucking... Yeah, we can literally be a campus family with your help. Check the Ko-Fi, check the PayPal. It means a ton. Alright. So yeah, check this out. I highly recommend this. I highly recommend you read this whole white paper. It's good. And I will do it on stream soon. It's all about using the UN, global governance, China's position on international relations, etc. Highly recommended read. Alright, I got a kind of happy fun story here for you from China. Donghua Dreamers. Zhang Xiaofu, a former animator at Disney Animation Studios, led his team in creating the animation film One Small Step, which received a nomination for Best Animated Short Film at the 9th Academy Awards. Now, Zhang has ventured into the gaming industry, and his team role-playing game, Flame Hunter Zhanghua, was recently released on Steam gaming platform. For him, whether through animation or gaming, the mission is unwavering: take every chance, push through every difficulty, and never stop striving for excellence. CGTN. That's him. And here, we got a thing here. We got a video with this one.
Naive little hick with good grades and big ideas decides, hey, look at me, I'm gonna move to Zootopia where predators and prey live in harmony and sing kumbaya.
从美国到创业在中国有这么大的机会，然后这么多年在太空，我们做了各种各样的项目，特别是做动画和游戏，这是我很爱的东西，可以创作我自己想象的一个世界，我自己想象的故事。我是张少辅，我是太空动漫的创始人。太空动漫第一部的视频
His first production was One Small Step. It's a story about a girl named Luna with dreams of becoming an astronaut. Her father supports her ambitions in every way possible, but passes away. Overwhelmed by the challenges she faces, Luna soon abandons her dreams, and she fails many times. In the end, however, she remembers her father's unconditional support, rekindles her dream, and succeeds. One Small Step has won over 200 awards at international film festivals, including an Oscar nomination.
This
was the first time my founding partner and I, after leaving Disney, went to a restaurant and started talking about what we wanted to do. We knew we wanted to write a story about a little girl whose dreams of going to space and what challenges she might encounter. Everyone had all kinds of different opportunities and ideas. In fact, we had more than a dozen early versions of the script. In the end, everyone agreed that this was a version that could touch an audience. From that moment on, One Small Step was born. It was also involved through the entire creative process. The story belongs to all of them. To achieve such an ambitious dream takes not only their own efforts, but also the support of their parents. In fact, this film expresses their shared aspirations. I only began to study animation after graduate school, and I was starting from scratch. Yo, thank you Red Midwest for the biddies. In 2013, I joined Disney, and I was incredibly happy. I felt like I had achieved something truly significant in this industry. While there, I worked on 3 films: Big Hero 6, Zootopia, and Moana. I was born in Wuhan, China. I moved to the US at age 5 and grew up there. It wasn't until 2010 that I had my first real opportunity to return to China. Because I worked in China for such a long time, I was able to witness the speed and development and the strong sense of momentum and vitality. I felt that in the field of animation, our country was in a great need of talents like these. From animation studios such as Disney, Pixar, Sony, their experience, production pipelines, workflows, software could be tremendously helpful to the domestic industry. So I strongly encouraged him to come back. Once, twice, 3 times, etc. I returned to China because I realized that China is truly very different than the US, and that there are so many opportunities here. I started to feel like coming home. I wanted to build a Chinese animation studio and use what I had learned at Disney to help support Chinese animation. Most of our projects are written by me together with a team. I believe writers should write what they know. I think that's often my family. If something feels real to me, others will feel the same way, like they've experienced something similar. In Pangu, I also wanted to express this idea. The inspiration came from my father and I. Parents are from an older generation, and they have their own ways of thinking. They raise their children, but those children grow up in a different world, right? My son is 3 years old now. The world he grows up in is something I won't fully understand. That's the idea we hope to convey. But how can we use art to express the collision between those two worlds. I was thinking at the time, if we had one character entirely made of 90-degree angles, or all flat and very sharp, and another character that was completely round, then we could use visual design to express a difference between the eras. In Pangu, the father represents the square shape while the son is represented by circles. In real life, Shoufu is the shape. Being a circle means that you often have to compromise, constantly adjusting yourself to the world. I've always thought that I was more round since I was young. But now I've realized in some ways I'm actually more square. Both of us have very strong personalities. Both are independent in our free time. The things I enjoy are completely different from his. My father plays football every week, and he still enjoys playing with younger people at least 2 or 3 times a week. In the future, I hope that when I'm his age, I'll still have as much energy as he does. As I watch him play football, he's so happy in the field, I actually recognize that feeling. It's how I feel making games or working on an animation. Right now, I'm working together with my father on a startup. We are currently making a video game called Flame Hunter. It's a fantasy action role-playing game. The development of this video game is largely tied to our experience in animation. In the mythical world of Zhanghu, everything is considered from an animation perspective. Why this world exists here, what kind of logic it follows, and what impressions our characters would have living in this world. The character needs a very specific objective. Our storyline includes various ups and downs, and plot twists, which greatly enrich the character's growth. I've journeyed to the West since I've enjoyed Journey to the West since I was a kid. It features all kinds of demons and spirits. Later, I realized that all those things actually originate from the classic The Mountains and the Seas. So I started reading that book and came across a character named Zhang Ku. At first, the story is quite tragic and marked by failure, but later he transitions from the human world to the underworld and is given a new opportunity. That became the starting point for our inspiration to expand him into a bigger character and reinterpret this traditional figure and story in a modern way.
So it's going to be coins like this all over the map. We are missing BizDev for one kind, which is the level 2, but I think we can just take this idea and just make it more like ghostly. It's got some kind of like energy around it.
I'm in charge of the production and creative direction of the project. So for most things like our visual design, I need to provide feedback and improving levels and such. It's our job. Throughout our creative process, every time he has a new idea, he says, "Dad, come take a look. I've made new progress." Whether it's gameplay or camera techniques, whenever he makes a new progress, he shares it with me. I remember when I was little, my father saved up a lot of money and bought the original Nintendo NES. The first game I played was Super Mario Brothers, and I played it with him. Back then, he wasn't really into it. He was just keeping me company. But now we're actually making video games together. He started putting a lot of effort into really studying them. Just like when I was working in animation. I bought a lot of games. I bought plenty of related books too, sorry. Just like when he was working in animation, I bought a lot of books on the subject. Now that he's making games, I bought plenty of related books too. Actually, there's a lot I've learned from him. And naturally, when it comes to creative work, he learns a lot from me as well. Over the years, we've come to understand each other more deeply. And we're both learning and growing together. He is a daydreamer, yet determined to never give up. He has the grit to see things through. He wants to get one. wants to get one thing after the other right. I feel that especially in animation and game development, all kinds of problems come up, such as technical issues, staffing issues. But we never let any of that get in the way of our dreams and goals. No matter what, I'll get it done. I don't care what stands in my way. I will find a way to seize even a 1% chance. Future of gaming. China. Another China W, chat. Here you go. Thought that was a lovely little feature I wanted to share with y'all. Oh, okay, moving over to our DPRK news now. I have a couple pieces here. Notably, want to share this one with you. Doctorate degrees of the DPRK were conferred on Cho Mi-hwa and Pak Jun-sung, Korean compatriots in China. They made a contribution to explaining and providing in a profound way the development of the people-oriented public health system under the wise leadership of President Kim Il-sung, Chairman Kim Jong-il, and the respected Comrade General Secretary Kim Jong-un, the ideological and theoretical and legal basis of the public health system, and the great change in building up the material and technical foundations of the public health. A ceremony of awarding the doctorate degrees was held at Pyongyang Assembly Hall on June 15th. Present there were Jun Sung-guk, Vice Premier of the Cabinet, who is Chairman of the State Commission for the Conferment of Academic Degrees and Titles of the DPRK, and officials concerned. A decision of the State Commission for the Conferment of Academic Degrees and Titles to the DPRK was read out. Then degrees of Doctor of Laws and Doctor of Economics were conferred to Chan Mi-hwa and Pak Jun-sung, respectively. Rodong Sinmun. Hell yeah. We got the Vietnamese delegation, touring various places in the DPRK. They're enjoying their state visit, chat. They were also invited to a reception given by the Ministry of Public Security in the DPRK. And then Jo Young-won meets Vietnamese Prime Minister of Public Security, who is the Presidium of the Political Bureau of the CC of the Workers' Party of Korea. The first Vice President of the State Affairs Commission. So this is like Kim Jong-un's second when it comes to the State Affairs Commission and Marshal of the Korean People's Army. He met Luong Tam Quang, Minister of the Public Security of the Socialist Republic of Vietnam, who paid a courtesy call on him at the Pyongyang Assembly Hall on June 15th. They had a talk in a friendly atmosphere, and they were accompanied by other members of the delegation as well as the public security of DPRK. Okay, KCNA reports on miracles. This is the one I want to read this one to you. These two, though, I recommend you go and read these ones. This one's talking about all of the upsurge, such as the Yangchung Youth Coal Mine, showing 6% increase in production. The Jikda Coal Mine has produced hundreds of thousands of tons more coal than planned. The Anju Insulating Material Factory also overfilled its production quotas. Mining and light industrial sectors as well. They conducted mass technological innovation movements that have gone well. The railway transport workers, timber producers, and fishery workers have carried out their monthly plans for rail freight transport, timber production, and seafood production. The report said that thanks to the struggle of the heroic working class, who made strenuous efforts to carry out the tasks of the first year of the 5-year plan, the overall industrial production has been increased by far than planned to provide a sure guarantee for steady and sustained growth of the country's economy. So already in the first year, we are overfilling quotas. Massive. DPRK cannot stop winning. Alright, one last piece for you here in the news, which is attaching importance to science and technology. This is just a small part of this read. Again, I recommend you check out the whole article later. But this is the second part of the article, the end of it. In October 2019, the respected Comrade General Secretary Kim Jong-un gave field guidance at a farm. The officials of the farm were wrapped in great emotion. That day, at the Room for Education and Revolutionary History, the respected Comrade General Secretary taught the accompanying officials that science and technology are the key with which to brave all hardship, and that the Agricultural Scientific Research Institution had to be made up to date, as he had already mentioned earlier, noting that it is greatly crucial undertaking for setting the people's food problem and the development of agricultural science and technology means the growth of agricultural production. He stressed as follows: it is urgently needed to develop agricultural science and technology, also in order to build communism, as farming is indispensable to the communist society too. We should hold fast to the development of agricultural science and technology as the policy issue of great importance. Listening to his words indicative of the necessary of development of agricultural science and technology and its weighty significance, the officials kept deep in mind the truth that the main secret to growth of agriculture production lies in attaching importance to science and technology, and that the development of agricultural science and technology is promising work, which is not only for the increase in immediate agricultural production, but also for the distant future of the country, and the most crucial work incomparable to anything. Rodong Simman. Science, I love this part right here. Why I wanted to share this article was his statement here. He said that it's farming is indispensable to communist society. I love that. Tuesday, welcome in. Good to see you. Well, I sorry to hear about how busy you are, but I appreciate any time you're able to come in here. And there you go. That's your Juche Gang news